Welcome to this episode of Apis TechTips, a series of short explainer excerpts from real Apis training courses. This episode goes through virtualization from a bird's eye perspective, and it comes from the course Network Slicing in an Hour. Enjoy!
So, on slide number 5, I just wanted to contain the things that I find most relevant. Virtualization is a topic in its own right, of course. This picture over here, it presents what is called the traditional approach. This is one machine that does one thing. So within this red area, I have dedicated hardware with specialized software that runs on it, and it has certain functionalities and capabilities. And you can see 3 of these machines over here. This is the way things were for very, very long time. It's a good solution. It does have a lot of good things about it, but if you look over here, I've actually only focused on the drawbacks. What's bad about the traditional approach? Because this is an explanation on why do we actually move away from that. And the answer is hidden in this one word over here. It's expensive. It's expensive because buying dedicated hardware and software is expensive, but it's also because it's a very long time to market, long deployment times. Establishing a new MME within the Evolved Packet Core, it's projects for 1.5 months if we do it in this approach. Lack of scalability, lack of flexibility. So basically all this is like, fine, it's fantastic. If we can afford to have this solution in our networks, it's the best possible one because you have dedicated resources and everything is beautiful, but it is expensive. So in order to save, and as we said, economizing is what the operators really need to do nowadays, we started with the idea of sharing the hardware resources, and the first really big one was using virtual machines. So this application over here, it represents a virtual machine, which means a certain functionality. It has its own operating system. You can see this red shape over here, that's one virtual machine. And then there is a number of them that are sitting on the same hardware with a hypervisor on the way, ensuring that we have some kind of multiplexing and resource allocation that fits all of these users, which are, by the way, unaware of the fact that anybody else exists on that hardware. That's what the hypervisor does. It hides away the fact that there are other users. Then over time, you can see that what is my actual functionality gets smaller and smaller. Smaller building blocks are easier to design. They can be put out onto the market much quicker. These are containers. And you can see over here, as it says, these different containers, they share an operating system. So they are smaller than the virtual machine solution. There is a Docker engine to basically dock them into the operating system, and then the hardware over here is going to be used. And then there is also microservices, which are, kind of even smaller building blocks. But without going any much into details, I simply wanted to say that virtualization as such gives us huge benefits. It's a much more cost-efficient way of designing the network. It's just that it, of course, has its drawbacks that stem from the fact that we are sharing resources. And this is an example of a slide where I would invite you to read through the things on your own. But basically what it says over here is that with virtualization, we get scalability, automated management and orchestration. Lower power consumption is one of the main arguments for virtualization. Flexibility, we get isolation, so you're welcome to read through the comments. Plus one thing over here, what also comes with virtualization is the fact that a process that is running on a particular hardware can be moved to another hardware without interrupting the process. This is called live migration, and this is going to be quite useful for us in the mobile networks to follow the mobility of the customers across the virtualized networks. So these are the underlying benefits of the virtualization, which we use for our network slicing solutions.
If you enjoy this Apis Tech Tip, check out the full Apis course Network Slicing in an Hour, where this video came from. There you will get a condensed view of the 5G network slicing feature as defined by the 3GPP. It presents operational benefits and explains the technology needed to realize network slicing in 5G. To check this course out in more detail and all our other training, just visit us on www.apistraining.com.